Hey friends, welcome back to my channel. I'm Angela Braniff, and today we are going to be talking about 5 ways that we splurge budget-wise with a big family. So last week I did a video and shared with you guys 5 ways that we save money as a big family. Again, I do not claim to be any kind of a budgeting expert or anything like that, but I personally find it very interesting to hear from different perspectives because there's a lot of amazing budgeting channels and stuff like that here on YouTube, many of which I follow and love to watch. For those of us who are somewhere in the middle between living this very, very frugal life where we're scrimping and couponing and saving versus people who are living very extravagant lives, you know, living in million-dollar homes and that sort of thing, there's a lot of us who land somewhere in the middle. And so I think it's always interesting to kind of hear people's perspectives because they are just all so vastly different, and especially as a big family. There are many preconceived notions about what it looks like to have a big family, what it looks like to budget for a big family, and it truly just is different for everyone. Everyone has different priorities for their budget and all of that kind of stuff. So today, I just thought it would be really fun to chat with you guys about 5 ways that we splurge. We absolutely have those areas in our budget where we are way more free with our spending, and other areas where we tighten up a little bit. And again, I've kind of been going on this journey since the beginning of the year to declutter and organize my home, and also to really get a very good grip on our budget, because last year was kind of a, as the young kids say, a YOLO year, where we were just kind of figuring out what life looked like with our new dynamic, with my husband being home and me working and also still homeschooling, and all these different things that we kind of had that were a major change for us in our almost 15 years married. So there was a lot of kinks that needed to be worked out. And so we're kind of a year into that now and figuring out, okay, what does life look like from here? How do we want to continue to live? How do we want to use our resources? That kind of stuff. I can go more into that if you guys are interested in kind of like more of a big picture, full picture budgeting video, talking a little bit more about financial stuff. If you guys are interested in that, let me know down below in the comments if you want me to kind of, maybe I can do more of a budgeting series, kind of like how I've been doing the decluttering and organizing series. Maybe I can kind of do more of a budgeting series as well. But anyways, I really felt empowered to make this video because one of my favorite budgeting people to watch on YouTube, her name is Lydia Sin, and I just love her because she is so authentic. I never like to say she's real and relatable because that's going to be different for everybody, but for me, her methods, her approach to budgeting is a lot more something that I can get behind. And she's just a big proponent of your budget doesn't have to look like everybody else's. You need to do what works for you, and nobody gets to tell you how to spend your money. So that's just kind of the thing I guess I want to preface this with, is that, like, remember, the things that we splurge on may not be the things that you splurge on. Everybody has different things that are important to them, that are worth it to them. It's all based on their income, their family dynamic. Just remember that, keep that in mind as we're about to talk about items we splurge on. And this video, for the record, would have looked vastly different 5 or 8 years ago. So with that said, this has been the longest intro ever because I feel like I have to like quid pro quo and, you know, make sure I check all the boxes so nobody screams at me. All right, so the first thing that we splurge on is experiences. We have a few years ago made the decision that we were not going to do a ton of like gifts for birthdays and gifts for Christmas, and our kids still get gifts for those holidays, but we just don't go crazy. We prefer to, if we're going to invest a large amount of money or money at all really into something like that, we really like to invest into experiences for our children. For us, that has looked like many different things. For example, last year we purchased a travel trailer and we did some traveling over the course of the year. We went to South Carolina and Florida, and we went on airboat rides to see alligators. We took a boat out and swam with manatees. Like all of these different things, like for us, that is the kind of stuff that is worth investing in. The vacations, it's not about it being like big and elaborate. It's just about removing our family from the everyday and putting them in a place that's different, where we're having different experiences, learning different things. And again, that all kind of folds into our homeschooling philosophy and how we kind of just want to expose our kids to more than just what they would encounter on an everyday basis in our neighborhood or at our church or that kind of thing. So I'm going to reference a few things in this video that I talk about in my book, but it's just because it so goes hand in hand. But I didn't leave the country for the first time until I was 28 years old. And my first time leaving the country was to go to Congo, to the Democratic Republic of Congo in Africa to adopt my son. And so that experience literally changed my life. There's like 3 chapters in my book about it because that's how life transforming it was for me. And so I have just ever since then really valued the experience of traveling and spending time with people who live differently than I do, who think differently than I do, cultures that are different. I just see so much intrinsic value in it, and I enjoy it so much that I want to give that to my kids as much as possible. Of course, it is a challenge with 8 kids. There are other amazing families here on YouTube, like the Norp family. They do a lot of world traveling with all of their kids, and we hope that maybe someday when our kids are a little older like theirs, we can do more of that stuff. They're in my dream. I can't say lifelong dream. I really just got to this point of dreaming this month when I was working on some history stuff with the kids, and I was like, oh, I really want to go to Peru, and that's where they are right now. So I am lovingly envious of that. But yeah, experiences, they have just changed my life, and I want that so much for my kids, and I just see so much more value in that than things. Don't mind me though, sipping on my homemade latte so I don't spend money on a coffee outside of the house. Haha, we're saving money here. Okay, the next thing that we splurge on are what I like to call simple joys. Those are things for me like I do get my hair done. My gray hair is like Tim Allen's hair in the Santa Claus. Okay, I get it dyed, I wake up the next day and it's back. I don't know why or how it happens, but I have to cover my gray hair pretty frequently. For years and years and years, I did box dye from the store every couple of months and then would maybe get a trim and whatever, and just was very, very frugal with that. But as I've gotten older, I have valued much more the hands of an expert when it comes to coloring my hair and keeping my hair the color that I enjoy with the dimension that I like. And again, that for some people, they've never colored their hair. They never would. It's not something they would ever spend money on or care about. But I love coloring my hair. I wish that I could come up with pictures right now to show you guys that I've literally had my hair every natural color that's possible. I've never dyed my hair like pink or purple or whatever, but I've had like bright red, very, very blonde, brown, reddish brown, black. I've had my hair black. I have had my hair many, many colors. I love changing up my hair. It's just something I've always enjoyed. So that's like a simple joy for me. Or I go through phases where I get my nails done like a gel polish, but I stretch it out as long as I can. Like the last time I went 4 weeks. It lasted 4 weeks. Again, I go through phases with that. It's not something I do all the time. It's not consistent, but it is a little simple joy for me. I have in the past done eyelash extensions. I don't do that really right now because I just don't have the time to go every 2 weeks and get that done. I absolutely love having eyelash extensions though, and they are wonderful and fabulous. And I love getting them done, especially in the summer, because then I don't feel like I have to really wear hardly any other makeup and I feel really good. So I might start doing that again in the summer, but it's just like little things like that. Because for me, some of those little luxuries end up actually being time savers for me. Those are little luxuries. Also, this sounds kind of silly, but books, I have no problem buying books. You will never see me say, well, I'm not going to buy that book. It's $17 or whatever. I will spend money on books. Audible, all the live long day. I love books. And if my kids ask me for books, I'm like, yes, go ahead, tell me which one you want. I will buy it for you. Like they pretty much know if you ask mom for a book, she will buy it for you. I love books. I love keeping. We have like a little mini library in our dining room that is now sort of like this study area with my grandma's old piano and 2 big bookshelves. And then we also have a ton of books in our homeschool room. I think that's part of homeschooling as well, is that just like I love having resources and books around. So those kind of things are like little luxuries for me that I have no problem spending money on. The next one is help. This is again something that I have always been through the course of our marriage very, very stingy about. And if I'm just being honest with you guys, I would definitely, especially probably like 2011, 2012, when we were in our first adoption process, I probably would have judged somebody who had like a lawn care service. I'd have been like, why don't you just do that yourself? Like save some money. But you know, I've gone through phases in my life where I've been very critical of other people and the way they spend money. I think which is why I'm so on the opposite of it now, is that I'm just like, you don't know someone's circumstances. You don't know why they're willing to spend that money, because it's a trade-off for time. And that's where we're at, is that we do have a lawn care service now, a guy that comes every 2 weeks. We are really, really diligent about finding good people. We don't usually use like big companies or services. We ask for referrals. We we have like a town Facebook page for the town that we live in, and we ask for referrals for handymen, electricians, and we try to hire like mom and pop kind of people for jobs that we need to hire for, whatever. So we've had this same lawn care guy. He is just the sweetest guy. His prices are so affordable, and we've been using him for years. And so I don't know, to me it's like we get to support somebody's small business. He's an entrepreneur, and we get to support that small business for him while also freeing up the hours that it would take my husband, because our yard is almost a full acre lot, and so we didn't have a riding mower or anything, so a push mower for the front and back would be about a 4-hour job. This guy comes over on his 0-turn mower, and he's zoom, zoom, zoom out of here in probably 30 to 45 minutes. So it's worth it to us. And then also, we've said this before, we've gotten help on and off in the last 2 years with cleaning, but it's only been in the last 2 years. We've never hired cleaning help before that. It was after the twins were born was the first time, I believe, that we hired a cleaning service. And we've done it for a little bit and then not, and then done it for them. We try to tighten up our budget and we'll cut it. But we found a lady that we really, really love, and she's very, very affordable and reasonable. And we have her come once a week. She comes on Friday mornings. That's the day that we don't homeschool, is Friday. So we take our kids out and we run errands. We go to a museum. We go do something fun. She cleans. We come home. The house is nice and clean. I mean, we pick up the house, right? Like we keep the house picked up, but she'll come and do the floors, the kitchen, like the microwave, the stove, and the bathrooms. That's pretty much what she does. And then obviously, like, we're still cleaning every day. With 10 people living here, we're still cleaning every day. And the last thing is that sometimes we do get help with laundry. Again, we've used this laundry service, which you'll have to look and see if it's in your area. I've shared it so many times because I love it. I'll leave a link down below. I think it might get you like $10 off, but it's $35, and they give you this huge blue bag. You put in 4 loads or 40 pounds of laundry fits into this bag. You put it on your front porch, they pick it up, they take it, they wash it, they fold it, they bring it back the next day for $35. So it's like you put your laundry out one morning, the next day you come back, it's all done and folded and ready to be put away for $35. So we started using it when we would come back from like different trips. If we'd gone camping and stayed in a cabin or something like that, we'd do that to get everything clean at once. But then we started seeing that, like, hey, we're doing so much laundry. Like, for example, this week we didn't use it. I decided on Sunday that I was just gonna really dedicate to like trying to stay on top of the laundry. So for me, having systems is something that I'm working on this year. I don't know what it is about adding another child to our family this year that I feel like shifted a lot of our systems that I felt like were working, but just aren't working as well right now. So yeah, we are still working on a laundry system that works for us, but that is definitely an area where we've gotten help when we need it, and we get help from time to time as well there. Okay, the next one is one that has been on my heart for a few years, and I've tried to think through, but honestly, the frugal part of my mind and the scarcity mentality, that's a whole nother video, y'all, that I could go into, like sort of how our mindset affects that stuff and how you grew up and how you think about money. When you struggle with a scarcity mentality, it is definitely, and I'm not saying this in like a prosperity preacher kind of way. I'm saying this in a like trusting God for your tomorrow, trusting God to provide for you for tomorrow. And for me, that is something that over the course of most of my adult life, especially, I've really struggled with. And so I have hoarded things. I mean, there are clothes in that closet. If you guys watched my closet clean out, there are clothes in there that are from probably high school, because I've always like had this mentality that like, but what if I don't have the money to repurchase it? What if I get rid of it and then I really want it back and I don't have the money to get it back? I'm a 7 on the Enneagram, and so one of the bad traits about that is I often live in this fear place of feeling like, but what if I don't have what I really want or need? So when you live in that mindset for a really long time, it's hard to break out of it. So one of the things that I have been working on specifically, and that God has really burdened my heart over, is the ethics of where I'm purchasing things from. In my experiences in traveling to Africa, I've been to Congo and Uganda, and then to China and different places, I have found that He has really opened my eyes to the very real issue of child labor, using children who are enslaved to make products. So yeah, I'm just trying to be more conscious in that way, as well as when I'm shopping for myself. So this is an area, again, that I struggle with a lot. It is this kind of like paradox that you have to like constantly butt up against, where you want to budget and save money. This is why kind of in the last video, I don't talk a lot about budgeting in a typical way, because a lot of people are just like frugality, 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 whatever you can do to make it the cheapest. But what I have come to know over the last couple of years, and what my eyes have really been open to, and what I've struggled with, is that the cheapness of that item gets passed down the line somewhere. So that $2 shirt at Walmart, it's so great that it's $2 for you on this end, but somewhere along the line, and it's not going to be the company who made the shirt, somewhere along the line, someone's getting screwed to make that shirt for $4. Whether it's a woman being forced to work in a factory in horrible conditions, or child labor, or getting paid pennies, someone's paying the price somewhere. So with that knowledge, I have been more willing to seek out ethical clothing companies. That is something I'd like to share with you guys in the future if you're interested in that. Some of my favorite ethical clothing companies that I have found that are very transparent about the labor they use, the conditions for workers, and the cost along the way. And that kind of radical transparency for clothing companies is just something that I think is so needed. And on the flip side of that, I also want to say that this is where you kind of have to sit in this uncomfortable place, is that I fully understand that on this end, there are people that need to be able to buy the really affordable clothing. I'm not judging anybody who's saying like, oh, I buy everything at Walmart or whatever. I'm not judging anybody. I'm just telling you that like, this is why these things are not so black and white. Wow, I really went on a tangent there. I didn't mean to do that. But what I was trying to say was just simply that purchasing more ethical items over purchasing the cheapest item is an area in which I splurge in my budget. So yeah, paying more attention to where certain items are coming from, my clothing specifically, but other things as well, and choosing, and as best as I can, ethical purchasing over just what is the cheapest thing that day. Okay, and the last area of splurging, I was really kind of hesitant to put this on the list because it does feel like I'm trying to like humble brag or something, and I'm not. I'm hoping that you're going to hear my heart behind this and like why I'm saying this, and it's not out of a like, you know, look at me, blah, blah, blah. Giving is one area that we splurge on. Our like donations and just general giving financially, but in other ways as well. But I know we're kind of talking specifically here about finances. Again, if you read my book, or if you know the story of our son Jonah, God performed an incredible miracle financially for us with that adoption. And in that, I learned that one of the things that I felt like I was not trusting him with was finances. I was still feeling like I needed to do everything on my own, and I needed to be very protective of my money. And it was definitely like this sort of scarcity, in the sense that I wasn't trusting God for my tomorrow and for my family's tomorrow and to take care of us. The biggest lesson I learned in that was in holding my resources, whatever they are, time, money, health, whatever the resource is that I have at that moment. It's simply just a tool, and it's simply a resource. We've tried really hard to be very, very open-handed with it, very willing to give where we feel led to give, and just to financially support organizations that we believe in, people that are doing things that we feel are really important, because we know it's like on our end to be the recipient of that kind of kindness from someone who had more than we did. And so we want to be able to pay that forward as our financial picture has looked different over the years, and it may go backwards. But my mindset over the last few years specifically has just been that these resources are God's resources. He has given them to me. And while I am not perfect, I absolutely make mistakes. I spend money on stupid things. I have regrets about money I've spent on things. But one of the areas that I've never had any regrets on is the money that we've donated and given, and organizations that we have supported financially. I have zero regrets about that. And I do believe that while it's not a thing of like you give and it comes back to you tenfold financially. If you give someone $10, you're suddenly going to get $100. Like, I'm not of that mindset, but I am that if God's asking me to give this and then tomorrow I have a need that I'm like, crap, if I just would have had this money, then I could have done this. He's going to help me and we're going to find a way to take care of this. And I just need to be obedient with my finances and give as generously as I can. And so, yeah, that's just kind of one of the areas that, again, with a lot of the very popular financial gurus and stuff like that who tell you how to buckle down and not spend any money and all this kind of stuff, I get it. I get people's desire for financial safety and security. I absolutely understand that. We all want that to some level, but I just also know how dangerous it can be to begin to hoard and hold things so protectively and tightly that we're unwilling to be generous and help people who are truly in need as well. I don't remember exactly the saying or even who said it, but it's when you have more, you don't build a higher fence to protect it, you build a longer table to share it. So that's the mentality we've tried to take over the last few years as well. So, okay, this video got way, way longer than I anticipated, and I hope and pray that it did not come across preachy in any way. That's not at all my intent with this. I hope that you heard my heart on this. I feel like you guys did. Y'all are some of, I've said this before, but like some of the best freaking people on the internet. So I'm not too worried about it, but it's just always a little bit weird and squirrely when you start talking about money. So that's it though for today's video. Be sure to let me know if you guys want to see more of budgeting stuff or kind of talking more full picture with budgeting stuff. Just let me know what y'all want to see. I'm going to keep going on my decluttering series. We've got a lot more to go there. I've got a list this long on my whiteboard out of my office of videos that I want to make for you guys. So I'm always open to suggestions though if there's things that you guys are interested in you want me to share about. So that is it for today's video, guys, and I hope y'all are having a wonderful day. Thank you so much for spending your time with me. Like I said, I know that time is precious. I know how precious time is. So you're here listening to me, and if you've made it to the end, my goodness, I just love you so much. So thank you, guys. Subscribe if you're not already, and I will see you again very soon. Bye.
Just yet, or soon.